Yes, it will.
Okay, cool.
We are live. I am here with Remi and Nate. If you don't know who they are, you will after I chat with them here. They're from Hōmebodies, a unique fitness program where they throw out one workout every single day for your crazy viewership. Um, Before we get to that, I got to ask the one thing that's on everyone's mind. You guys may think it's the 54 card pickup, but it's definitely not. It's that chase, man. The security footage, Nate. Dude, what the heck went on there? I want to hear the story behind that because Remi posted the video and all we got was like a little tease of you bolting out the door.
Yeah, so it was a regular Sunday evening. I was taking the trash cans out, and we get a lot of riffraff in this neighborhood. And I saw some cop cars roll up. So I saw the cherries, and then I saw this, crazy looking guy sprinting down the street. So my brain immediately puts two and two together, and I kind of live for this kind of stuff. I'm always looking for a reason to get involved. So I just sprinted, started chasing him, and I was like about 100 yards in front of the cop, and I wound up catching the guy, and then he like squirmed away and climbed over a fence, and they had to call in like a helicopter and 12 other cars.
Yeah.
What was your reaction, Remi?
He went yodeling down the street like, whoa! Like he was so excited about it. I was like, what the heck happened? And he disappeared like that. So I had no idea where he was. I just saw cops chasing after him. So I was like, oh my God, like, is he in trouble? Like, what the hell's going on? My knees went weak. I was like, what could happen right now? Why is he getting chased? So yeah, I mean, that's just one of the many instances that we've encountered here.
That's wild. Well, I had to start with a story like that, but usually I typically go, wheel things back a little bit, talk about your backgrounds and whatnot. Nate, I've dug deep with you prior to this interview, looking through like your accolades. Obviously, the Marine is a huge thing. Growing up, were you always into sports and athletics and all that kind of stuff?
No, the funny thing is I sucked. I was awkward. I was scrawny. I was really weak and small, uncoordinated as hell. I couldn't even make sports teams. I would try out for basketball, baseball. I was too small for football, not even try that. But any sports that I tried out for, I wouldn't make the team. And the only sport relative that I was even able to get onto was track, and that's hardly a sport. But they would they would just put me in the events that nobody else wanted to run. They'd be like, "Oh, Pontius, go run the 3 mile," and I kind of got good at running distances only because I ran them all the time because nobody else wanted to run them.
And then obviously the Marines came about. What was the decision making behind that?
Well, my old man and my grandpa both were Marines. They both served. And I guess even from a young age, like whenever I saw 9/11 happen, just something clicked. And from like second grade on, I knew that I wanted to go and serve. So the Marines was the hot route, the hot ticket to get me there.
Remi, what about you? What about your background? I know you got into the whole blogging thing and all that kind of stuff. Talk me through your progression leading up to where you're at today.
Yeah, I mean, I was never the athletic one. I'm never into sports, nothing like that. I'm not coordinated. I never thought I could do anything sort of athletic. But I kind of took a route where I wanted to funnel my creativity through creating different recipes. And through discovering how I could fuel myself and start the day off colorfully and bright, I could set the tone for the rest of the day. And from doing so, I just gained a really large following at the time, just people knowing me for creating different recipe bowls, one new one every single day for 2 years. And I was just doing it out of passion of finding new recipes for myself and sharing them. And then 2 years later, it just grew into more lifestyle, fitness. It's the consistency again. It's like I posted every day something new, something of value, and people like fed off on. People know when you're passionate about something, you're sharing something that you really love, and they like that. They feed off the energy. They like that, and I think that's what happened with Hōmebodies too when we started going live during COVID. Just our passion for just wanting to create connection with people around the world, showing up every day for them and being the one constant that they could rely on. Just it again, like it was like we built a community from that, and it just happened so effortlessly, it seems.
It definitely seems that way. Nate, I also wanted to ask, because I noticed that you did CrossFit for a little bit there. I was reading through your athlete profile, and I saw down at the bottom of the screen here some of your benchmark stats, and I gotta say, holy crap, they're pretty damn good. And recently I saw Remi posted an article in, I forget what magazine it was, In Style or something like that, where you said you haven't lifted more than a 20-pound weight over the last couple of years, whereas those are telling me that you lifted 515 pounds plus. Yeah. So talk about the whole CrossFit and then moving forward into where you're at now, and what's sort of the difference, and why do you feel like you're in the best shape now rather than back then?
Well, I mean, first of all, I feel like I'm in my best shape now. Just like I used to wake up in so much pain, and like competing on a professional scale like that, it really takes a toll on your body. I mean, there's a reason why you see like professional CrossFitters, they kind of come in and then they kind of go out. You can't do that for a really long time. You can only throw heavy barbells over your head for so long before you're going to tear something up. And yeah, so now I'm structured more around sustainability. Like aesthetically, which I don't really look so much at aesthetically, but my figure is leaner. I feel healthier. I feel more energized. And again, I just don't feel tattered and broken and beaten down, because kind of going back to like in high school, trying out for sports, I sucked. I had to work 5 times harder than everybody else just to even have a fighting shot to try out. So the same kind of applied to CrossFit. There was a lot of really, really talented athletes they were ex-professional athletes or college athletes. So they already had that edge. They were built and they were kind of conditioned for it. Whereas I was just coming from the military. I had a lot of grit, but I didn't have any just natural talent. So I had to work my ass off all the time.
You were training for like hours and hours and hours every day, all day long.
Were you guys together when you were doing CrossFit?
No.
I honestly don't think I would have been attracted to him. He would have zero time for me, and he was also like a beast. Like, you were like going sideways through doors.
Like when I was competing in CrossFit, I had a big gigantic beard too, and she just wasn't really into that. But also, so the big competition that I was, then this is going to lead into your last question. So the big competition that I really was training for was regionals, and it's like one of the top competitions for CrossFit athletes around the world to qualify for their regional competition. And I finally made it there, and I had gone so hard that I finished out the weekend competing with rhabdo, which rhabdo is a clinical issue where you work your muscles out so hard that they can no longer recover. So you push past like muscle soreness and fatigue to the point where your muscles are just breaking down and they cannot recover anymore. So I was pretty messed up for a while after that. And I had just totally exhausted myself because it was like a 3-year stint of chasing that and trying to be the fittest version of myself. And it's kind of unhealthy in a way. And so I took a lot of time off. I was not training at all. I lost a lot of weight. I got really, really skinny. And I was training dogs, and I was also boxing. So I was boxing competitively at the amateur level. And that is when a guy that I was rescuing dogs with, he was training her dog, and he sent her dog to me. And that is how her and I met. So I was not working out at all. I was just scrawny, and I was boxing.
He had black eyes.
So when she showed up, I had just had a fight the weekend prior, and my face was just tattered.
So other than the amateur boxing or the boxing that you do now with Hōmebodies, do you ever train at all anymore?
I've not trained anymore.
You do it for fun, like once a month with friends, but it's more for fun.
For sure. Did you have an amateur bout?
I had 3. My
What does that mean?
About a fight.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, did he compete basically? And you weren't interested in the MMA aspect, like the ground game or anything like that?
Not so much. I was really interested in boxing, but honestly, my last fight was after her and I had just met, and so she got to be along for the ride as I was like cutting up and getting ready for the fight and everything, and then me going and actually fighting, and then along with the military in Afghanistan and getting blown up and getting my head rocked, and then going and getting my head rocked for sport. You have to get a physical every so often.
Yeah.
To continue boxing. So I had to go in and get my physical, get your head scan, everything. And they're like, hey, along with the explosions that you had in Afghanistan, maybe combat sports are not the best idea for you to just go in and have your brain scrambled every week. So they're like, we're going to not sign off on your physical.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I got to ask, because Remi always posts, like videos of you or pictures of you, and you're always grimacing, and you're smiling right now, which is a good thing for me because I wanted to make sure that you weren't going to be grimacing with me. But do you think that has to do with your whole tour in Afghanistan? Like, or were you that kind of kid growing up?
That's a really good question, actually. I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that. I've never really been like a super smiley kid. I'm just, quite frankly, I'm pretty awkward, and I'm pretty introverted. Really, I am.
Do you feel like you're blunt and you tell it as it is, or it's just you just show your emotions the way you show them?
Both. I mean, I'm not gonna butter thing. I'm smiling right now because I'm genuinely happy, and this is cool, and I'm having a good time. So I feel like society, especially in Los Angeles where we are, society has just gotten so disconnected from being able to accept the reality and the truth of things, where like everybody's got to like put a face on and butter everything up and turn things into a dog and pony show and sugarcoat things and tell people all these roundabout ways. Whereas if I don't like somebody, I'll flat out tell them I do not like them. Or if I don't want to talk to somebody, I'll say I don't want to talk to you. And I think that that's more genuine and better off.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
That's the culture we should live in. There's no point in beating around the bush.
Right.
So, Remi, let's get to you a little bit. You talked about not being uber athletic growing up and whatnot. Was it when you met Nate that you felt like you had to start this whole fitness thing, or did you work out much leading up to that?
Well, I do really well when people tell me what to do and I have a strict structure. I do well like that. And I do well when I have a workout buddy. So it's just like all those three things. So when I first started 6 years ago, I also had those three things. I had a workout buddy. I had a BBG guide, Kayla Itzani's BBG guide I was doing, 12-week program. And so like I had the motivation and discipline to like stick with it every day and the accountability. And after I did that program for 2 years straight, I just simply got bored. And then after that, it was a matter of like finding something else that really spoke to me. And yeah, meeting Nate totally turned that back on again. And now like having a partner that is like so inspiring and just like is so knowledgeable in that space it's just great. It's so much fun.
All right, let's talk Hōmebodies. As I said, a new daily workout each and every day for your membership and whatnot. It's pretty impressive to say the least. How did the whole thing get started? And was it, obviously you said the pandemic brought the daily workouts on, but talk about the mindset and getting Hōmebodies started before that even, I guess, because you guys were obviously thinking about starting something prior to the daily thing.
That's actually, we didn't see this becoming anything until we started having issues with Instagram and the like. We were having so many people in the lives and the quality wasn't very good. And we were just getting a lot of people that we could tell they wanted a little bit of a better experience. And then our lives would cut off and we couldn't play music and we're getting a lot of spam. So we're like, hey, we could take this to the next level. Like we can bring a better experience to people, because it kind of got to a point where, I mean, Instagram Live, it's kind of a show. It's kind of a show where you have to program something very broad so that a lot of people can do it. And so then I can't really cater certain things. And we had a lot of people that wanted like certain help with things, and we can't give them that attention. So whenever we make our own program, we can start putting more attention into certain individuals and structure things differently.
Yeah. How did we decide? When was the moment where like we should turn this into something?
I think
it was after all the frustration, like about the lives. Yeah.
And was it instant that you wanted to do daily?
I mean, that's what I wanted to do. And the hesitation that we got from, I mean, our business coach that we were working with, as well as Remi, is like, whoa, that's 365 days. And I was the only thing that I had to say was like, I work out and I move my body every single day. You've got a camera, and I have no problem making this happen every single day. And I've even had to travel, and I just set up a phone and I did workouts in parking lots and everything.
We've done it by the beach. We've done it in a park, wherever we go.
What have you learned from the early days up until now in terms of like fans, viewership, just learning knowledge of the Hōmebodies audience?
So I feel like the fitness industry gets twisted up in wanting to coach people that already have this baseline knowledge of fitness. And that's not a very, I guess this is kind of selfish, but it's not such a rewarding feeling as I feel like the Hōmebodies community, like we're getting that freaking 37, 38-year-old mom of 3 that also works a part-time job. She's got no freaking time. And, you know, she's not very fit. She's fresh. She's new. She can't even do a single push-up. And then she's 26 weeks in and she's banging out 15 push-ups, doing burpees, doing crab toe touches, all this cool stuff. And like, that's what's really incredible is you get to see all of those building blocks rolling through of our cycles. So that's been a really, really cool thing to watch roll out.
Do you depending on your workouts, obviously, as I'm leading up to talking about the deck of cards and the 54 card pickup, that was your guys' favorite workout, as you say on the website. Obviously the fans' favorite website, because people are always looking forward to it. You saw that with the sales of the cards themselves. What other workouts did you cater any to specific people? Like, what's the deal with the style of workouts?
I wouldn't say that I cater any workouts to a certain demographic of people. I really do. I mean, aside from like we did like a booty blast workout for her birthday. Obviously the guys aren't going to be so jacked up about that, but I try to view fitness in such a different manner than most people do. And the way that I do that is by implementing so many different modalities of training. And it's good because it can appeal to a big muscle head that goes to the gym and pumps iron, or it could make that, like I said earlier, that 38-year-old mom that needs help carrying groceries and carrying a baby. And, you know, it's functional. It's functional fitness.
I know you said rewarding, and you said it's selfish possibly for yourself to, you know, not take away from that, what you're giving out and if it works or not. But is there any comment or testimonial, I might say, that sort of sticks in your head from a user that stuck out and you're like, man, that is a cool thing to hear from either of you guys?
Fuck. I mean,
not specific, not necessarily quote for quote, obviously, but like something that just sort of, wow, I can't believe we're doing that for this person.
I just feel like people always tell us they have light bulb moments, right? Like they're like, whoa, I never realized my hip was a circle. I never realized that you should be moving it in all, you know, angles and things like that. Or like, I never realized how to do this correctly. And now I'm like seeing results or, you know, getting stronger week over week. I mean, I feel like you read, you know.
I mean, we've had a lot of people with like prior injuries that get into training. a lot of knee injuries, and that's some knee, hip, low back. And that's where I put a lot of my focus is, you know, I am throwing out cues constantly to make sure people are checking in with their form always, because quite frankly, the reason why I got out of the fitness industry in the first place was because I was just unimpressed and uninspired by everything that was around me. And I'd honestly been fired from multiple different gyms that I had coached at because I didn't think the same way as the other coaches, and I didn't think the same way as the owners wanted their coaches to think. I had a different method that I wanted to implement and the different styles that I wanted to teach people, and it wasn't the status quo. And
they wanted to put you in a box.
So that's like I like to kind of inspire movement a little bit differently.
And I'm sure like seeing people's before and after pictures is pretty inspirational as well.
Crazy.
It's the best.
All right, I'm going to share the screen here and show folks at home the 54 cards, the deck of cards here. I want to talk about this and let people see what they get. They get the Hōmebodies deck of cards, 4 live workouts included. You'll show the various ways, 54 how-to videos, which I think is one of the coolest things on these cards. The fact that there's the QR code on the back, like the amount of time that it must have taken to put into each of these cards along with everything else is just super cool. And I didn't guess this when you guys put out, you know, guess what we're coming out with, guess the product, but it's so fitting that you guys put this out and super cool. And I'm glad you guys were able to get to Canada. It didn't come to my door yet, but I'm happy about that. If people haven't watched your Instagram live videos just about the lead up and the progression and all the steps that it took to get to this point of the 54 card pickup, can we just talk about that a little bit and talk about the mindset of getting this whole thing started, of launching a product?
Yeah. I mean, we just wanted something that was, at first I was toying with the idea of like athletic clothes. I was like, should we do like athletic lines since that's what we show up to the camera every day wearing? And Nate's like, you know what, like leave that to the professionals. Like, let's do something more authentic and genuine to who we are. And that was when it was like 54 card pickup. Like, what if we did a deck of cards? And that just was like, oh my God, yes. Like, that was a very much a light bulb moment for both of us. And yeah, we just ran with it. Like immediately after that conversation we had, you went to go train a client and I was already like finding manufacturers in the US. Like it was like happening.
Right. And then just to backtrack to like how 54 card pickup even became a thing, why it kind of became the hot thing on Instagram Live. I really, it's a challenge. People, like, humans thrive on challenges like that. And I mean, so the deck of cards workouts, that's an old school military thing. You know, we're always traveling, whether you're on a boat, you're out deployed, whatever. So we'd flip cards and we'd make workouts out of the cards and whatnot. So I had that in the back of my brain. And I knew that whenever I rolled it out one day for programming, I knew it was going to be a hit. I knew it because her reaction was like, oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. Yeah. And like everybody went friggin' bananas for it. And I think there's just this thrill of like, you're pulling a card, you're like, oh, what's it going to be? Like, what's it going to be? And it's like every time you pull a card, you get that little hit of adrenaline, and then you finish the card, and then you get that endorphin rush, and then you get another hit of adrenaline. It's like,
and then you see the deck going smaller.
And then like that act of, there's a lot of people that are like, shit, 54 cards. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to complete all these reps. And then they make it through. And it's like this, it's almost like a bonding, like it builds the community stronger because we all like finish things and we do it together. And it's like a drug, honestly. It's like any drug. You constantly get that hit.
Yeah, that was our thing. It was like, you start together, we finish together. So we have that like on the cover of the box.
I loved how this past Saturday you guys did the first live with it, and Remi was drawing the cards. And at one point, Nate, you were like, oh man, why are you drawing the cards so fast?
I was like, was like, you need to slow down a little bit. She was, oh.
I don't know if everyone caught that, but I did.
Oh my God. That happens every day on our workouts. It's like you see the big.
It's pretty funny though, because I
man.
mean, the first card drawn was like a 70. I was like, oh man, we're in for something big here.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're big reps.
Yeah, and going through the cards, I mean, 10 different styles of workouts. I'm sure you could come up with many, many more other than those like customizable workouts. But how'd you come up with those 10 workouts? Because you said on the you know, when you were out and deployed and stuff like that, you were flipping cards. Were those the same sort of things, or did you come up with those recently?
I came up with these games just recently. I mean, just because, I mean, boredom is the number one thing that gets people to just kind of fall off track with working out. So if you can keep something interesting and bring good levels of variety, I think that really helps break up the monotony of training, especially with like a deck of cards. You can only like pull a card, do it, pull a card, do it. You want like a little structure and like, you know, different ways that you can utilize them. So two of my favorite that we put together, one's called Triple Threat, and then the other one is called Crazy Eights. That's going to be a ladder format, but those two are going to be real bangers. And then if you feel like you're really a boss, you can take on Survivor. Survivor is going to be where you'll pull a card and you have to complete that card within 2 minutes, and you keep pulling a card and completing it within 2 minutes for as long as you can. If you get to a card and you can't complete it in 2 minutes, you're dead.
Maybe you're dead. I got to ask, the pre-sale obviously went well. You guys, I don't know what you were expecting. I guess I can ask that question first. What were you expecting? And were you blown away by the amount of people that purchased over the weekend and then into Monday?
Yeah, I mean, it was overwhelming for sure. This is the first time we launched a physical product. We didn't know what to expect. The first launch we had was digital Hōmebodies. And so it was just a completely different beast. You know, there was a lot of, it was a learning curve for us too. And like how we could have better prepared ourselves for the launch, for the orders, like
running a shipping department out of our living room.
I was going to ask that too. Yeah.
Very labor intensive for sure. And then we handwritten every letter, which took hours and hours and hours. So, I mean, all of it was just, it was a lot of fun. It's very rewarding to see everyone receive it and share it and just like, you know, see it finally in everyone's hands. So it's all worth it.
Amazing. I know you guys, you're called Hōmebodies. You do the workouts from your living room, but you recently renovated the gym to this amazing space. Why do the workouts continue to happen in the living room?
So that's actually a good question. And also it's, I don't want to say it's sad, but the amount of time that I actually spend in that gym working out now is like pretty small. Like once a week, I go out there and I train with a couple of my old friends, and it doesn't really get used all that much. If I'm like really needing a spark of creativity, I'll go out there and break a sweat on some of the machines and kind of get my brain fired up. But other than that, we stick to the living room, but we also we experimented with it one day. We took the stuff out there and we were like, we're going to start filming the Hōmebodies workouts out here. And it just, it wasn't right. Something was not clicking.
It was like a blessing in disguise that we were like not clicking that day. Like the sun was in his eye and like the angles were all weird and claustrophobic because we don't know the space very well. And we were like arguing like, oh, like you need to work this better and this needs to be better. But then we're like, wait a minute. Why are we like, we need to take a step back. Like, look at the way this looks. Look how much equipment is in the background of this workout right now. Like this isn't really minimal. And that's a core value of ours. Is like, we're minimal training. And so this doesn't make a lot of sense for Hōmebodies. So we're like, you know what? This is blessing in disguise. We did it once, and the next day we stuck to the living room, and from then on, it's just been the living room.
I think what makes you guys so relatable to the Hōmebodies crew is the fact that you're doing it in the living room, because that's typically where everyone else is doing it as well, right?
Yeah.
That's great. And then the dogs walking in and out.
Exactly.
You feel like you're there with us. So
yeah, it's like a certain. It's kind of raw. and it's not that produced studio workout like what the gym would kind of give. And like she said, it's not minimalist. There's tons of equipment everywhere. And I used to get really frustrated by the little things, like there'd be noise or people ringing the doorbell, people coming in and out. And she's like, you know what? That's part of this. This is part of the process.
Yeah. I don't edit that.
I rescued the 2 dogs that I have as well. One we got from Korea, saved her from the meat market, flew her over here, and still very skittish, but super chill, awesome dog. The other one we brought over from California, and he's a bit of an asshole. I will say that. He's bitten a few people. He's old. He's grumpy. He's blind. He's deaf. But I wanted to talk about your dogs. You had 2. Each of you guys had a dog before you got together. Both are rescues as well.
Yeah. So I got Simba from my old neighbor. At the time, he was a front yard dog. What is the word when neglected? And just the neighborhood's favorite dog. But yeah, I moved to this house and they just offered, like, do you want him? And I was like, okay. So I rescued him from them. And then when I met Nate, he had Juno, a black version of my dog.
And a lot of other dogs too.
Yeah. They got along, and they're just both the most chillest dogs together.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And
all
so,
right, I go on. Yeah. Sorry. No, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, Juno, she's my ride or die. She, like, out of all the, like, 20, I think I was like 28 dogs that I had rescued and trained and rehomed and had living in my loft with me, she was my constant. And I had just one other Belgian Malinois that I had rescued that was just, he was dead sent to be put down because he was a total asshole. His name was Chapo, and he was an awesome dog. But just Belgian Malinois, if you're not familiar, they're the military working dogs, law enforcement dogs, and they've got to have a lot of attention. And so he went and got a job working as a working dog with law enforcement.
Amazing. I've kept you guys over 30 minutes here. I'm going to wrap it up very quickly. I got one more question, and it goes to each of you. If you go back and tell your 10-year-old self something, give them a piece of advice from yourself now, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't worry about the grades that you get in school or what the teachers tell you.
Yeah. Don't worry about your Kumon class, your jazz class, your piano class. It's all good. Like, you'll find your path. Like, this is all just noise.
Good ones. All right. The floor is yours. Let people know where they can find you, where they can purchase the deck of cards, 54 card pickup, and obviously Hōmebodies. Yes,
you can sign up for Hōmebodies on teamhomebodies.com and find me on Instagram at RRAYYME. Nate is at Nate's_beard. And the deck of cards can also be found off of my blog, RRAYYME.com.
Such an awesome time, guys. I truly appreciate it. I'm glad we finally got to set this up. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.